I'm a parent of 2 future Blair High School students, and I'm also here to request that you recommend the denial of the application for the 199-foot tower that would be adjacent to Blair High School campus. I value the service of our volunteers and first responders and respect the need for an upgrade to the public safety radio system. However, this would be a second tower within 50 feet of the Blair campus and less than 300 feet from homes and a child care center, and the third tower within 200 feet of Blair High School. The proposed third tower, with a height of 199 feet, can have dozens of commercial wireless antennas and other equipment added after the county constructs the tower. This is an issue of equity. There is no other school in Montgomery County with 2 cell towers in such close proximity. A third and oversized tower at this location would be an excessive overconcentration of wireless facilities in a small area where thousands of young people, including childcare and elementary school students, are gathered. This is unjustified and not equitable. Nearly 25,000 studies have documented the adverse health effects of exposure to radio frequency microwave radiation from cell towers, including neurologic effects such as sleep impairments, learning and memory problems, dementia and tinnitus, cardiac and blood pressure effects, endocrine and immune effects, genotoxicity, and cancer. In fact, Montgomery County sued the FCC over the lack of response to the county's request to update the FCC's 1996 standards for RF emissions. In 2018, NIH's National Toxicology Program found an unusual cancer called schwannoma in the hearts of male rats exposed to cell phone radio frequency radiation. Researchers with the renowned Ramazzini Institute in Italy found that lab animals exposed to environmental levels of cell tower radiation develop cancers, including malignant brain, glial tumors, and precancerous conditions, including Schwann cells. Placing a third tower by Blair High School would be replacing the rats that NIH and Ramazzini Institute used with our children as the guinea pigs for this exposure, perhaps unlimited exposure to cell tower radiation. It is also important to remember that children's skulls are softer and thinner and have more fluid content than those of adults. The human brain is still developing into the mid-20s. In 2013, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer detailed research showing the average RF energy deposition is twice as high in certain regions of children's brains and up to 10 times higher in the bone marrow of children's skulls compared to the energy deposition in adult brains and skulls. The radiation is absorbed more deeply into children's brains, and therefore children need greater protections in place. According to a 2018 study, mobile phone base station tower settings adjacent to school buildings impact on students' cognitive health. Schools with nearby cell towers had significant declines in cognitive scores when the radiation from the cell tower was higher, but still at non-thermal levels. The county needs space for only 7 public safety antennas, and there are numerous alternatives for the county to co-locate the 7 public safety antennas on support structures and towers that already exist, or on the tower in Sligo Golf Course. I hope that you will withdraw the application and continue to support the primary mission of MCPS to provide a safe and supportive environment for the academic success of every student.
This is the cell tower located directly across the street from the school. Several parents aren't happy about it.
This is 150 feet from where they eat lunch and play. You know, it's too close.
Parents at Lakeview Elementary want this cell tower recently installed taken down.
If there's any amount of extra risk being taken from this tower, our community, we're not willing to take that risk for our kids.
Philip Claysons has a son at this school. His daughter will attend it next year. He's worried about the potential health risks.
We're concerned with the unknown. I think both sides of this argument don't know. They can't definitely say it's going to affect your health, it's not going to affect your health.
He started this Facebook page to try and get the tower removed.
I understand that they're going to go in the community, so your kids still live there. But with that, You're not going to put it next to somewhere where you're going to grab all the kids from the community and put them in one place all day.
In August, the county approved an ordinance banning cell phone towers within 300 feet of schools, daycares, hospitals, and police or fire stations. However, it passed 4 months after the permit for this tower was already approved. A spokesperson for County Supervisor Diane Jacobs' office told the group any further action will require the federal government.
Common sense tells our community that shouldn't go up next to the school.
According to AT&T, the tower is currently a 4G tower with no timeline on turning it into a 5G tower. 5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds but don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies. So instead of relying on large cell phone towers spread far apart, they need small cell sites that are much closer together. Cell phone equipment does emit radiation, but research on its health effects has been inconsistent. According to the National Cancer Institute, a limited number of studies have shown some evidence of statistical association of cell phone use and brain tumor risks. But most studies have found no association. A spokesperson for AT&T echoed that sentiment, telling us there have been no conclusive studies and proof about health risks. Parents say they don't want any cell towers located this close to their child's school, especially not one with the capability of becoming 5G.
Our kids shouldn't be guinea pigs for this technology.
Nobody knows in 30 years what this is radiation coming out. They say it's low level and it doesn't penetrate our bodies, but we don't know in 30 years what it's going to look like on these little people.
Kelly Hessedal, News 8.
Construction on the giant cell towers needed to make Los Angeles County's emergency communication system work have been halted until radiation concerns are addressed. The county says the radiation would be no worse than what's given off by cordless phones. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda is live in Altadena with both sides of the story. Carlos?
Well, behind me you can see one of the new towers. It's located at the Altadena Sheriff's Station, and it's right next to Fire Station 11. But firefighters and residents say this was pushed through without public input, and they worry about their health, and they worry about radiation. Dozens of firefighters came to the Board of Supervisors to let them know they don't want cell towers where they work.
The proximity of the towers and people living next to the towers is of grave concern, but it's a very complex issue as to how those radio waves affect people all the way up to 3 miles away.
The towers are going up at fire stations and sheriff stations, part of a new high-tech communication system to help first responders talk with each other. It's being planned by LA RICS, the Los Angeles Regional Interoperable Communication System.
We are looking at 177 sites. 51 sites are currently in construction, with 8 of them having been completed.
What exactly can happen during a major crisis or natural disaster? We lose cell sites. We lose the ability to communicate when we need it most.
But some firefighters and residents say they're worried about radiation exposure and claim these projects were pushed through without any oversight because federal funding ends on September 1st.
If I don't sue, somebody will. I'm going to protect my babies, 3 babies under the age of 3 under my roof.
It's just we're not sure, exactly what's going to happen. Is there cancer, effects?
I know scientifically that putting up these cell phone towers is safe.
But the International Association of Firefighters disagrees. They began opposing cell towers on fire stations after firefighters complained of health problems.
These firefighters developed symptoms.
Dr. Gunnar Heuser conducted a pilot study on firefighters at a station with cell towers.
And the symptoms included problem with memory, problem with intermittent confusion, problem with weakness.
Heuser says their brain scans suggest even low-level RF can cause cell damage, and he worries about more vulnerable groups like kids.
So we found abnormal brain function in all of the firefighters we examined.
So, following lobbying by firefighters, Cork and his co-author exempted fire stations from their bill, making them one place cell companies couldn't put a tower.
This is the first piece of legislation that I think anyone's aware of where somebody got an exemption because they were concerned about health. Did they tell you at all about the study?
All I know is that when the firefighters ask, I do what they ask me to do.
Because they're strong lobbyists?
Yes.
So if, say, school teachers and parents had a strong lobby and they asked you to pass something that would prevent these from going up in your schools, would you do that?
If I couldn't get the votes any other way.
Firefighter and cancer survivor Tony Stefani notes,
It's not only firefighters, it's the people that live in the general vicinity of these towers.
current regulations don't take into account continuous low-level exposure from these small cells 24 hours a day.
More of these studies have to be done.
There are 230 scientists from 41 countries who have apparently reviewed more than 2,000 peer-reviewed studies, and they're calling on the World Health Organization to do more studies. They're not convinced that this is